Hello, welcome to Gaming Division. We are appropriate for all ages. This is not the watch spot, this is the play spot, so we'll go ahead and ignore that. Um, and now we can't see me, because that is not the right device. And it probably doesn't like me switching in the middle. So, this has gone a horrible start, but I am Kamurai. Welcome to Play Spot, where I blow my brains out because I can't do things right. But I have a special guest with me today. Hopefully his screen stays up. Let's see if we got the. This is. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Kevin,
Hey, Kevin's a buddy of mine. You live in Illinois, right?
Indiana.
It's the same thing.
Sure.
Sorry, Kevin's a good buddy of mine. He plays games and stuff too, so I thought it'd be fun to bring him on and look at this wire that's trying to kill me.
I have one too.
So, always professional. No, we're trying out some new stuff. Kevin's bearing with me. So, as long as Kevin can hear me, I think we're okay.
Currently, I can hear you. How long that will continue?
Okay, so we will find out.
Yay.
But, since Kevin is a special guest, I'd like to let him start it off. Kevin, what have you been playing this week?
Yesterday, Kat and I were in his wife's house. We played. Let's see, we played Ticket to Ride and Catan and 2 games of Munchkin. So it's really interesting because they're very different gamers. They're relatively novice gamers, not really big into board gaming. Good news for them, we have pretty low barrier to entry games. They liked the last time we were over there. We played a lot of Dominion. So much Dominion that I was sick of Dominion, which is kind of unheard of.
Well, yeah, and that's pretty impressive to do. Do you consider Dominion to have a low barrier of entry, though?
Say again?
Do you consider Dominion to have a low barrier of entry?
Dominion, not so much, but probably the other ones. Dominion, in the way of deck builders, I think is a little bit more complex because it has such a rigid format. But 4 Star Realms, I only have 1 deck of that. They were able to understand that one pretty well. This time...
I'm sorry, I was just going to say, let's unpack that for a minute just in case somebody isn't familiar. A deck builder, which is a whole genre of games now that got popular with Dominion, is anytime you are building the deck on the fly as part of the game. When you said rigid, what did you actually mean by rigid?
Well, I guess in Dominion, there's very specific things that you can do. So you have, the buy phase, and the action phase and the buy phase, and the cleanup. And you can only do 1 action and 1 buy unless you have a specific action that gives actions or more buys. And so with that, it forces you into that framework of working with that 1 action and 1 buy. Whereas like Star Realms, you can, however much gold you have, you can buy that many cards worth of, or that much gold worth of cards, rather than if you had, say, 15 gold in min, you could only buy, 1 card, even if it was only 5 gold or something like that.
Well, and here's a quick, fun challenge for us. Can we name, let's say, 5 other games that don't have that stringent order? I mean,
I'm losing you again, Cam. You said 5 other games that don't have a rigid structure? You're talking about deck builders specifically?
Like you mentioned Star Realms. Penny Arcade's like that. Can you think of any others? Ascension. Our internet connection may be cutting out in and out a little bit here. So yeah, it looks like Kevin's true. So there's 3 right there. I'm trying to think of another one. Tanakuro also shares a similar structure like that. Legendary, I think, does not. And I've lost Kevin, I'm pretty sure. So let's just go back to this for now. Yeah, he can't see the video. Okay, so Skype is trying to get him back for us. I'm wondering if I'm just overworking the PC here somehow, and Skype is not able to handle what is happening. So I'll continuing that train of thought there. There are a couple more deck builders out there because again, it's a very popular genre right now. So like Dominion's known for that rigid order, and it involves more strategy. I apologize if you can hear the noise and ringing and whatnot. Let's see here. I'm going to start talking about something else. I'm going to get Kevin back, and we're going to have to change topics again. So let me actually call him back here. Oh, no, Kevin? Internet is not our friend today. Or I hung up on him. One of the two. But Kevin? Kevin, are you back?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay, so let's go back to this. So what I was trying to say is, like, there are several. We could name a couple other ones that didn't have it. I think while you were gone, I had named Star Realms, like you had said, Ascension, Penny and Legendary even.
I'm not familiar with Legendary, but sounds about right.
Legendary's the Marvel superheroes deck builder. They played it recently on tabletop.
Okay, I have that one.
I think
played it myself.
Sentinels of the Multiverse, the DC one, I think also share a loose structure. Sorry, I have a cat somewhere in the background meowing. Yeah, we're cutting in and out a little bit. I'm gonna have to review this footage later and see if maybe I'm streaming at too high a resolution.
Okay.
That might be part of the problem. Okay, but let's continue with what we're talking about. Real quick, Ticket to Ride, we both agree has a low barrier of entry. Yes?
Ticket to Ride, yeah, okay. So, it was interesting. Catan, so with that, my brother really enjoyed Ticket to Ride because he had a lot of cars and his strategy, and his wife didn't like it as much. Tends to get bogged down in much decision making and seeing the strategy. I think that's partially just because she doesn't find the enjoyment in that. Not that she can't do it.
Yeah, everybody has their preferences.
And so she didn't like that as much. Oddly enough, she actually won by a pretty significant margin. I think she beat me by like 20 points and something like that.
Did she like after she won?
A little bit more, but still not. It still wasn't her favorite, which was fine. My brother enjoyed it. That's one of my favorite games. And then let's see. So that was a good game. They seemed to enjoy it overall. Then we played, or I think first we played, and then we played Ride. So the first game of Catan, she really likes it because you're kind of at the mercy of the dice. So
well, that's a leveling field of sorts, but we are talking about the base set only, right?
Yes, base set only. So in a way, I wouldn't agree entirely. I don't think you're entirely immersed in the dice because there's a lot of strategy involved. You know, how are you going to gouge the price if you have a resource? How do the tiles fall in the board setup? That important too.
No, I would disagree. I would agree with her entirely. You are at the mercy of the dice. You can pick a strategy that is more likely to win, like a higher probability. But if those numbers never come up, which I've had a game where my numbers never came up. I literally sat there and was just like, this is fun.
Yeah, so I could that too. but I still think that there are a lot of decisions to be made based on kind of the landscape of the given game and what cards you're getting and all of that. Of course, you can always get screwed by the robber at any point. So
Yeah, but that's
it's a,
the you're talking about the losing the cards.
yeah.
You hoard your cards. You need to play more.
I do need to play more. I'm not very experienced at Catan. I don't know if I've ever won, but I really enjoy it. So she's a fan of that mostly because kind of the game. I don't want to say the game plays itself because it definitely doesn't, but there's a lot
True.
less direct involvement.
Yeah.
From her perspective, at least.
Yeah, but no. Okay, so my point in like it's not that the dice rule it; it's that the dice determine what you have to work with, and the strategy is how you use what you've been given. So if you're not given a lot, you're at a disadvantage compared to other players. But if you're given a lot and you don't do anything with it or anything smart with it, then that's on you.
Yeah, exactly. My brother, however, really dislikes the game because of the fact that he doesn't have any agency over what happens because it's really the dice. So
it's very
He
polarizing.
got pretty frustrated, which is sad. I guess I don't know. He's kind of a gamer that he places a lot of stock in winning or being very competitive over it, which isn't something that I personally enjoy. It's not the way I game, but to each their own, I suppose.
Yeah, that's why I like a lot of the expansions because they help even out the randomness of it. The more expansions that I've played with, or to the degree I play with, it gives you more options on how to win. So it doesn't take anything away from the game, but it adds to and it helps you feel like you've got more going on with it.
Speaking of expansion, something I actually haven't shown you yet is an old original copy from like '95, I think.
Oh, you got
and Cities and Knights and Settlers. There's been one box, but they all have the boxes. We haven't gone through them to make sure we have all the pieces. But we also have the new one that I got Kat for her birthday. So
the Barbarians and Merchants. Is that what you mean?
What?
Barbarians and Merchants?
No, hold on. So we've got, of course, at the bottom of the box, the new copy.
Okay.
And then her dad gave us the old copy.
Oh, okay.
1996. So this is, before they, put a new skin on or whatever they did with it. So we do have now some of the expansions, Cities and Knights and Seafarers, the box, and I think all the pieces. We just haven't done the inventory to see if we could play them yet. And I have to find the instructions so we can make sure we know how to play them. But since you were telling us about it, we do have those now, so we'll have to check that out at some point. What else did we play?
Yeah, a lot of fun. Munchkin. Munchkin. It's really hard to say anything about Munchkin unless you don't know anything. Someone doesn't know anything about it, because it's a card version of D&D, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you're essentially in a dungeon. I mean, it's strictly a card game, but it's kind of a card game in the way that Dominion's a card game. It's almost more of a tabletop game, in my opinion. You're kicking down doors to try and defeat monsters. You can get help from your friends and your party, or they can choose not to help you. If you die, bad stuff happens, which varies from card to card. Sometimes you don't get any monsters. You beat the monsters, you level up, and the first one to level 10 wins, basically.
Well, I'm stuck on. I'm just stuck on what you meant by when you said tabletop. It's why I hate that fucking word, because I don't know what you meant. Like we're already talking about tabletop games, to my chagrin, but because it's a card game, it's a tabletop game.
Right. I feel like it doesn't quite play like a card game. Maybe that's just me.
Well, that's the point. Is it's a card game simulating an RPG.
Maybe that's why it plays a little differently.
Yeah, because it's a card thing to poke fun at an RPG, essentially.
Okay.
What was I gonna say? Yeah. So you're trying to outrace your buddies to level 10, which anyone who's played an RPG is like, oh, a leveling system.
Yeah.
So to that regard, I definitely agree with you. It does feel very much like an RPG because of the basis for its existence. but I mean, it's a lot of random stuff. It depends what the deck deals out. Were you playing any special editions or just base?
Just the base deck, the base set. That's the only one we've got right now.
The base set of the base edition. Yeah. Okay. Because and that gets confusing on its own because there's the like Munchkin Zombies version, Munchkin Cthulhu version, and then they each have their own like expansion runs. Is that the right word?
I think so.
Okay. Um, so yeah, Munchkin's fun. It's a good time. That's another one that showed up on tabletop. I've actually got a How to Play Munchkin video. It's earned me over $3. Um, okay, so the only thing I played because of VidCon this past week is Ultimate Werewolf. Did you ever play that? I can't remember if you ever got in a game.
I never played Ultimate Werewolf. No.
Have you played Werewolf or Mafia?
Werewolf or Mafia?
Yeah.
Neither of those.
Okay, they're all basically the same game with slight variations. I can't remember for the life of me what the difference between Werewolf and Ultimate Werewolf is. I think there's just more roles you can have. And Mafia is basically the same game where all the names are changed.
Okay.
The way you play it off the computer, because Mafia is based on the computer if I'm remembering correctly, and then Werewolf is was originally a card game. You deal out cards at random to people, and everyone keeps that card hidden. And then some of the people in the group are werewolves who will will kill someone each night until we find the werewolves and lynch them. And then everyone else is either a basic villager or they can have a special power. Like, as an example, there's a seer that can identify werewolves mystically. There's a sorceress that can use magic to identify the seer. There are several variations on like causing murders at night, or like this person is on the werewolf's team, but they're actually a villager, or things like that. Like the cursed, if they get hung, they come back as a werewolf, or they turn some. I can't remember. It's something like that. But the cursed ends up being on the werewolf side, is what I remember. We didn't play that one right. There was a couple mishaps. Joe was doing a lot as a DM for that game, and I really can't blame him for missing a couple beats. What was it? The hunter. Yeah, the hunter didn't fire his gun. The hunter, when he gets killed, is supposed to shoot somebody.
Okay.
Which in the long run of the thing is actually very helpful. Like Christina actually had the witch power, which you can use to arbitrarily kill somebody at night, like as an independent murder. So if she's getting outvoted on killing these werewolves, then like she can just decide, oh, I'm just gonna kill them anyways. And the hunter gets that same option, but he has to die for it to fly.
Sounds like a good game.
It's an interesting game, but the problem is it's a bluffing and lying game. And
I know you're not a big fan of those.
Yeah, I'm generally not a fan, but this was kind of fun because I was playing with. Not only was I playing with YouTubers that I admire, but I was actually playing with a group of good people, even if they weren't that experienced. And that, I think, was ultimately our issue, was that a lot of people hadn't played before, so they didn't understand that people were lying to get the other villagers killed. Because the werewolves ripped us apart, and not even at night, it was on the voting. We killed so many of our own people because the werewolves were like, that one, that one. And surprisingly, the people I accused were werewolves, so there's that.
Was this a really big game?
This was 20 people, or hold on, I think it was 17. Because we had
that sounds like
had 20. Joe was the DM, so that brings us down to 19. Yeah, and then 2 people stepped out because they didn't realize how long it was going to take. So yeah. Yeah, but it was a really good time. I was surprised that it went as well as it did. I was disappointed in that I didn't bring tripods to film it properly, and Christina even said like that would have been really cool. So I was just like, ah. Okay, so moving on, I've got something I want to show you. It's a new game that I got in, and then we can go into our last little discussion point. I'm trying to figure out what the best way to present this to you is, so I guess I will just do this.
Just hand it to me.
I would love to do that. Can you see?
Barbarossa, deck building card game.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did mean to do that.
Okay.
Is that a difference in presentation?
What? Okay.
These are the same people that do Tanto-Kuri, Arclight.
I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah, and they've changed their names. I think they've gone to Global Games and then Kamikaze, and that's a merging of Kamikaze and Japanime Games.
Okay.
But you'll notice on the box there's all these fan servicey anime girls. The whole idea of the game thematically is that you are Germany in World War II. You know, the heroes. And you're trying to take down Russia, so you're fighting the Russian front. I'm just trying to pull out some extra cards here so you can see, like, because we've got like that one, and then a very strategic position indeed. So, like, some of the cards are really ridiculous. There's like one, she was like in a bikini bottom or something. I'm just like, really? Like, there's a point where it's funny, and there's a point where it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And there's like several of them where they're sitting on the thing. Oh, here's the one I was talking about right there. It's the horse transporter, whatever it is. Like the horse is biting the underwear she's wearing. It's
Oh my
so
god.
like this is another one of those games that like I've got to look past the art and be like, there is a really good game in there. And obviously I thought it was a good enough game to buy because I remember skimming over the rules. And it actually is reminding me of one of the games that I'm working on designing in regards to permanence. You actually play things to the battlefield, and you still requires like you pay a bunch of different points. Like there's 1, 2, 3 different resources. Resources to play cards, resources to recruit, to buy new cards. And then you need reinforcement points and supply points to get new cards, but you need tactic points to actually play them. Okay. And then there's draw points, which is like drawing. So it's kind of like a mix of the game that I'm working on and Tanto-Kuri because they have the similar phases.
Okay.
Which actually makes sense because they made Tanto-Kuri. And this is actually looking really interesting. So, if you just look past the weird and potentially creepy theme, there's some really good mechanics buried in here. Definitely enough that I backed it. And I don't remember I don't remember how I found them. I know it was like some random promotional email or something, or I found like a Kickstarter notice or Indiegogo notice and backed it, and it just came in while I was out of town.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to look into how I actually found it, but that brings me into like into the last discussion point I want to hit. Have you ever backed a game project on anything?
I've not. I've never really been in a position to, but I actually do look at Kickstarter pretty regularly. You find some really cool creative projects going on there. And I've always wanted to be able to back them. I just haven't really been in a place to do that since I've gotten into gaming. But I found some really cool projects that I would love to be involved with or have some hand in helping bring to fruition. But I'm happy to donate my skills creatively rather than financially in most cases.
Well, and if you can do that, that's great. I'm sure if like you're offering free labor to whatever degree you can, like, and they can use that, then yeah. Have you actually reached out to anybody in that regard?
I'm
I
not.
mean, other than me.
Yeah, pretty much you. I actually all the
Okay.
terms and those commitments we've made, but
Well, I mean,
um,
you're in this weird. I don't want to get into your life story here, but I'm saying you're just in a weird position, time wise, like use of time wise.
yeah, it's strange with all the things going on right now. But soon, hopefully, that'll clear up where I can have a little bit more scheduled free time to do stuff. But it's nice to have a thing to maintain focus when I don't have anything else to focus on.
Yeah, and game design stuff always started out with like as a time killer for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely see where it could definitely be a time sink. But you've got a schedule for it. What was I gonna say? But yeah, so like I'm so sad about not being able to donate in on Forgotten King. Wave 2's finally filtering out, so it should all those models will be available soon.
Awesome.
So I'm excited about that. Tanner Curry looks like it's not coming out till October, and I'm starting to feel like they did it on purpose. Like they always meant for it to come out in October and not like when they said it was, which makes me kind of
Yeah.
pissed, honestly.
Do you think it'll get pushed for holiday season, or do you think October is going to be the
Well,
date?
the expansion's Oktoberfest, and right now the schedule is lined up so that it will release in October, like actually early October.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen is that they meant for it to be released in October, and that's when it's actually going to come out, which is late enough in the season that I guess you could do that. Because it's also weird too because it's the fourth block of cards. So if
Mm-hmm.
you want to get people into to buy that, then they have to play the base set at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that gives about a month leeway for people to teach their friends, like, oh yeah, I just got this thing. Why don't you check this out? Maybe you want to buy the original yourself, and then maybe someone else buys them the expansion for Christmas.
Maybe.
It's a possibility.
It seems like a really elaborate marketing plan.
Yeah, especially when it involves lying to and pissing off your clientele. Like
Yeah.
nobody is happy. Like some people are being tolerant and patient. But that was when they thought it was coming out in July. So,
Oh man. Yeah.
um, yeah, but like I, I think I've come to realize that nothing is ever going to release on time for a campaign. Like there was these chargers I was gonna get for VidCon. They're supposed to be like you charge them for 15 minutes and they're done.
Okay.
And then you've got like a full day's charge because it's using technology that like the electric cars are.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not coming out till like end of August.
Ah,
So poop.
that's frustrating.
Poop. Yeah, I was not super happy about that one. And then so like I've got, let's see, I backed a couple. I don't know. I think I backed the Imminent Domain expansion, and I backed an Among the Stars expansion. I think those are both on track for the moment. Ooh. I backed the 3D printer, and I really think that one's just going to take forever. I don't think that one's going to come out on time at all. uh, but it was like $200 for a 3D printer. Like that's how cheap they wanted to produce them.
Yeah.
It's actually got a good model and a good design to it, so that's that. But I just for games, it seems like it's so convoluted and it's such a long involved process to do anything, especially dealing with China overseas.
Yeah.
So it's amazing that these wonderful things get done at all. Which also makes me look towards like, hey, let's get a digital version up first. You know? Which actually I found some things in Gamebox that I readdressed, and it's gonna save me a lot of work in future too. So I can talk to you about that offline because I think we're about done here. Anything game wise you wanna add to wrap up? Anything you're looking forward to playing?
Let's see, what am I looking forward to playing? I feel like there was something, but I'm drawing a blank right now. Should make some notes.
FTL? Blood Bowl?
Nothing big on my radar at the moment, I don't think.
Just ignoring me. FTL or Blood Bowl? Those are the ones I've been harassing you about.
I am looking forward to playing some more Blood Bowl. I haven't had a lot of time to practice. Cat's been on practicing quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
Looking forward to playing some FTL. I'm not really sure what that's about yet because I haven't actually logged on and checked it out, but I did download it.
You watched me play a little bit of it, right?
Yeah, a little bit, but I haven't done it myself, so
no, yeah.
You know how that goes.
I'm with you.
I also downloaded Portal 1, which I played Portal 2 when it came out, I think, on Xbox 3 several years ago. I really enjoyed it, and I haven't had a chance to play Portal 1 either. So I'm really excited to check that out. I'm a big fan of puzzle games, logic-based puzzling and things like that. So I think that'll be a lot of fun too.
Yeah, anti-chamber. Well, I would say get done with Portal. And I think by the time Portal, if you and Kat don't start doing the 2-player missions, there's a thing coming out called Condenser or something. It's a mod, but it's essentially an expansion of Portal. It's like a Portal 3, a Portal 2.5, if you will.
Okay.
And I gotta go check that out myself. But I've got a list of things, and I can't. I'm afraid to move you because it won't. It'll. So I can't see what's on my blind playlist. But I'm probably gonna have to try to give Prison Architect another shake. I messed up some settings, and from the stream here, it doesn't look like I've got it mastered quite yet. But I had messed up some settings, so like Dust was horrible as far as audio went, at least, and then Prison Architect would barely even run properly. It would lock up and things. So I'm looking forward to going back, creating my gulag, where it's just like rows of solitary confinement. Will be no incidents. Because but like it seems like it doesn't want me to create the prison I want to create. It's like, oh, you have these goals, do it now, do it now, do it now. It's like, nah. So I don't know if I'm gonna do that or not. I really want to go back and play Dust, but I got to get through a lot of these other blind plays before I go back and start finishing off these games.
Okay. You trying to get through your library?
Yeah, because I remember all those games, I didn't know what they were. Like, they got them in like humble bundles or whatever, so I'm like, let me go through these and figure it out. Okay, I think we're good. Alright, so if you've watched this, thank you for watching. I'm Kamurai.
And I'm Kevin.
And until